In episode 17 I keep building the tunnel out of paper, and then I stick on beads to be rivets, which I paint with spray paint and brushes. Stick around to see how it turns out at the end of the video. So back in episode 14 I built these tunnel columns out of foam board. And if you recall, I was going to decorate the walls with this recurring design, which I drew out using Copic markers. This design influenced by wallpaper of the 1960s. Then, like the concept sketch, I mixed up burgundy paint and painted the columns, which, two things: I don't want to hand paint big surfaces, it took 3 coats and it looked rubbish. Also, change of plans, the bright 3-colour combination looked like a circus and not a living machine. So, different directions, I decided to cut up these sheets with some scissors. Then I stuck them to the base to provide an interesting texture, and I will also stick paper in rectangles to look like sheet metal after I spray painted metal colour with paint I bought at the hardware store. Here I am just gluing rectangles of paper to cardboard. I enjoyed doing this. It ended up looking like this. I also cut a trench along the wall that will allow me to shine light and use a smoke machine when I film later. So I also glued paper to the columns to cover the red paint. Just like that. Then I started gluing on beads as rivets. So the way this works is that I will put down a dab of glue with a toothpick and then place a little plastic bead with tweezers. This is an adaptation of the Mecha Method, named after Andy Mecha. I was doing this for a really long time. Alright, so my YouTube shout out this week is a very specific video called The Zen and Art of Model Making, which I strongly advise you to watch, link in the description. And so the channel is called Barney a Hater. This is an interview with a guy called Philip Reed, a professional model maker who makes these stunning wooden ships. But watch it because he gives the best rationale for pursuing creative goals you will ever hear. It is beautifully filmed. Watch and comment below, or better yet, actually on that actual video. The comments alone are worth a read. Back to gluing rivets late at night. I found this task much easier with a nice glass of Melback. I love a good red wine. So then I went into the shed and spray painted the whole thing with undercoat, all over just like that. Then I painted the whole thing in a matte aluminium colour, again from the hardware store, and also a semi-gloss silver in some parts. This was fun and quick, but I did my maths and I'm better off buying a cheap hobby airbrush from Amazon, and it's better for the environment. So I put an airbrush on order. And then I left it outside in the water tank to dry because it smelled really bad. A context here, I am working on the dining room table because the tunnel is really long, but also out here I'm more involved with my family than in the study by myself. So see how shiny and one tone it is? Well, I don't want the tunnel to be rusty, but I do want the metal tarnished. So I painted in acrylic a mix of brown, metallic and white paint over the top. It's a pretty watered down mix, using my brush like that. Once I've painted over a portion, I took tissue paper and wiped it away. Just like little dabbing motions. Now, I have been watching lots and lots of painting model videos on YouTube, and there is some amazing work out there, and I realise I have enormous scope for improvement, which is another way of saying that this is not all that good in comparison. I'll just show in time lapse. I paint on really rough, nice and bold, loose and random. Little confession here, I filmed far too much for this video. 71 separate sequences, some of them half an hour long. Crashed my computer several times loading them. I filled up my hard drive. I will be smarter and more selective in what I film going forward. I mean, my videos are always under 8 minutes. I had far too much video. So a bit down the track, I mixed up a thicker, darker mix to get caught up in the seam lines, which I am showing a little of here. I'll spare you the full 60 minutes of footage I filmed. So here are a couple of lingering shots of the finish effect from all that painting. I'm happy with the result. I mean, I'm not that YouTuber Night Shift by any stretch. That guy blows my mind. But for me, this is progress. Next week, I make this thing. And it doesn't exactly go to plan. Tune in for that. I know, you're thinking you've watched this far. Do I get to see the robot flying down the tunnel? Well, here it is. Now go and watch Zen and the Art of Modelling. Link in the description. Or you can watch any of my own videos that I made on this channel, Retro Roboland. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.